Have you ever been insulted? It's a very terrible feeling, isn't it? Well, we find today's hero of holiness, St. Clement Mary Hoffmeyer, in the streets begging alms for his orphans. He steps into a restaurant and he sees three men playing cards at a table. He goes over to them, politely explains his desire to help the children in need, most of whose parents, unfortunately, had passed away during the Napoleonic Wars of the time. And he asks them, "Will one of you help us out with a little donation to help these poor children?" Now, one of the three was a declared anti-Catholic. He started to hurl insults at the saint, and he started even spitting in his face. Very simply, Clement takes out a handkerchief, he wipes his face, he looks at the fellow, and he says, "So that was for me. But now, how about something for my orphans?" Wow, that's even more than turning the other cheek, as the gospel recommends us. If you want to know the final outcome of this story, stay with me until the end. But don't give in to your curiosity and go skipping until the end. Instead, subscribe to our channel and enjoy much more free content. These saints are amazing, aren't they? Would I ever manage to bear a grave offense that calmly? If you think so, click the like button. And if you don't, click it anyways. Because, well, in the normal course of things, not even St. Clement Mary Hoffmeyer could. The curtain could have gone down on that scene with our big German giving that rude fellow a bloody nose. St. Clement had, in fact, a very impulsive temperament and was naturally inclined to harsh words and even, believe it or not, rash deeds. But, and here is a very special secret, God molds and forms the hearts of those who give themselves entirely to Him. So more than doing anything by themselves, the saints are those who allow God to act upon their souls, who cooperate with Him. God is constantly calling each one of us to sanctity, most of the time through sufferings. We must constantly say yes. St. Clement Mary Hoffmeyer responded with a generous yes. Of course, his transformation happened amid setbacks, failures, persecution, and above all, perplexity. He spent half his life just searching for a way to become a priest. He was only ordained when he was 34. But now, from eternity, he shines like a star and is considered the second founder, along with St. Alphonsus Liguori, of course, of the Congregation of the Blessed Sacrament, the Redemptorists. It was only after he met this congregation, when in Rome on a pilgrimage, that the lights of his mission turned on, we could say, and things began to move fast. He lived at the same time as his aging founder, but unfortunately, he never got to meet him. St. Alphonsus heard of him, though, and was filled with consolation to know that his first non-Italian spiritual sons were entering his congregation. There were two of them, because St. Clement also brought along a friend. Now, St. Alfonso prophesied their success, saying they would do much for the growth of the congregation and above all, for God's glory. St. Clement would bring the missionary work of the Redemptorists into the Alps and beyond, founding many houses and making many of his founders' dreams come true. He became known as the Apostle of Vienna at a time when that capital was an important world center. Clement was born into a peasant family in the Czech Republic in Central Europe. They couldn't afford to pay for his priestly studies, and so he worked his youth as a baker's helper. In secret, God was forming the heart of a fiery preacher. Later, Father Clement would recall the graces of that time and keep up the habit of rising early. He was always an early bird. At 3:30 a.m., he would be ready, reciting lauds and making his daily meditation. It was his favorite time of the day. He would even say that that's when the Lord and I bake our bread together. Without that hour, I'd be empty-handed the whole day long. A lesson for us. Always, always start off our day with a prayer. I guarantee you that if you do so, your life will change. And it will only change for good. Now, the journey toward his goal of becoming a religious and finally a priest was a long one. After his time as a baker, he decided to live for God alone as a hermit. When hermitages were oppressed due to a wave of religious persecution, he set out as a pilgrim, and when he finally joined the Redemptors, this didn't mean that he settled down. His spirit of obedience and zeal took him on zigzags across the map, healing the spiritual scars of those very troubled times in the wake of the French Revolution, a time of great revolt against God, which proclaimed a false idea of liberty. Now, God gave us free will to choose good. We are free to do good. Those who choose evil abuse the true gift of liberty. And that is the problem. And ironically, they end up becoming slaves. In other words, they are nothing but free. They end up becoming slaves of sin. Our free will is to do good. Do you want true freedom? Subscribe to our channel to know more about your faith. Now, getting back to our saint. As a religious, his zeal sometimes caused consternation even for his superiors because it was so innovative. So you can just imagine that he was a constant thorn in the side of the enemies of the church. That's right. We can say that the saints are thorns that prick the evildoer's conscience. What to do with this priest who was influencing everyone, from the emperor down to the poorest of the poor? In his popular missions, he would constantly unmask the evils of the time, such as rationalism, other forms of atheism, and he was constantly calling people back to confession and mass. Clement, walking through the streets, would often find thugs armed with clubs lying in wait for him. But as the powerful priest strode past, they would lose heart. St. Clement laughed at the hatred of his enemies and cheerfully encouraged some of his less daring brothers. He would say, "It's good. It bothers the devil to no end. It's proof that we're on the right track." And we feel like he's saying the same thing to us today. Take heart. It's true, the devil goes about like a roaring lion, as the psalm says, putting fear into us and temptations. But he is no more than dust. He is powerless. So be prayerful and vigilant and show your faith. How? In the simplest ways. Are you going to make breakfast for your family, for example? Are you going out on errands? Say a prayer beforehand. It's so simple. Having a meal. Give thanks to God. Make the sign of the cross before sitting down. How many opportunities do we have to practice our faith in our daily lives? They are countless. And now, to wrap things up, let's return to the incident in the restaurant. This powerful apostle, a lion in God's service, also knew how to be a lamb. Meekness overcomes anger. The attitude of this saint, when insulted and mistreated, worked a change of heart. Stunned at such gentleness and humility, that man came to his senses. The devil left him, and he felt remorse. He emptied the contents of his pocket into the saint's hand, and a while later, he went to confession, starting a journey towards spiritual renewal. Working the conversion of a soul is only something God can do, and he did it through his faithful servant, Saint Clement Mary Hoffmeyer. Salve Maria.
If you like this video, press the like button and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos.